Okay, now today we are going to continue with lesson 10, writing. Here we are going to talk about, writing a sitcom, scenes, scripts. Here, in the first, we are going to look at the objectives of our lesson. First, we have to analyze a text to, about a sitcom, to match the date with the event according to a sitcom, answer questions about the script, and finally, we have to write a description for a final scene to the sitcom. Now, look at the picture. What does, the picture show? What does the picture show? Yesterday?
Adopted with his son.
Good. Someone with his son. Two people. Good. Where are they? Where are they? Maybe in the living room in their home. What are they doing? Rahman?
I think they are watching a film.
Good. Yes, maybe they are watching TV. Now, why are they laughing? You realize that they are laughing. Why are they laughing? Maybe they watching what? They are watching what?
A comedy.
Comedy, funny film, for example. Maybe a sitcom. They maybe, they are watching a sitcom. Good. Okay, now here we are going to explain what do we mean by sitcom. Sitcom related to comedy. So this is, the simple, let us say, definition for the sitcom. A sitcom is a situation comedy without any ending. It consists of episodes, but the situation goes on. What is a sitcom? A sitcom is a situation comedy without an ending. Consists of episodes, and the situation goes on. So this is, the first point, the definition of the sitcom. So sitcom related to comedies. Okay. Now, look here, we have, I think most of us enjoy watching sitcoms. Do you enjoy watching sitcoms? Do you enjoy, watching sitcoms? Yes. Right?
Yes, Steve.
Yes, we do. Now, what are, the best sitcoms or, you have watched? Look here, we have example, Friends, etc. We have a lot of, comedies that we watch or we in the past. We have also the characters that we usually watch. Okay, now here we have to read and highlight, the key features for each period. In other words, we are going to find, the development of the sitcoms from the beginnings up to now, from the 1940s up to now. Here we have to look at each period of time, starting from 1940s to up to now. Just we want to listen, just to share you the audio. 1 minute, please. Yes, listen, please.
Page 42. 10. Writing.
A sitcom is a situation comedy without an ending. It consists of episodes, but the situation goes on. The television sitcom was born in the 1940s and 1950s. It had originally existed as a radio show, that listeners would tune into every week to spend some time with familiar characters they grew to know and liked. When television arrived in the late 1940s, shows were filmed in front of a live studio audience, with 3 cameras recording everything for later editing. In the 60s, sitcoms combined fantasy with comedy and used a laugh track instead of a live studio audience. In the 70s, social issues were included, but in the 80s there was a return to the original family concept, the most important success factor behind sitcoms. Nowadays, shows are filmed with a single camera, on location or on studio sets, with no laugh track or live audience.
Okay, we can read the first paragraph. Ahmed Safi, are you here?
Yeah.
Ahmed?
Yeah.
Yes, read the first, please.
Okay. Sitcom is a situation comedy without an ending. It consists of episodes, but the situation goes on.
Episode.
The-
Good. Yes, it consists of episodes, but the situation goes on. Yes. Complete.
The,
The
tele-
television.
the television sitcom was born in the 1940s and 1950s. It had originally existed as a radio show that listeners would tune into every week to spend some time with familiar characters they grew to know and liked.
Good. So you realize that it began with what? With the radio. Just, depending on what? Listening. Good. Thank you. Who wants to continue with the second paragraph? Abdullah Amin, are you here? Abdullah?
أيوة صح.
Yes, please. Continue with the second paragraph. When television arrived.
When television
Okay.
arrived in the late 1940s, shows were filmed in front of a live studio audience, with 3 cameras recording everything for later editing. In the 60s, sitcoms combined fantasy with comedy and used a laugh track instead of a live studio audience. In the 70s, social issues were included, but in the 80s, there was a return to the original family concept, the most important success factor behind sitcoms.
Good. Continue the last paragraph. Nowadays.
Nowadays, shows are filmed with a single camera on location or on studio sets with no laugh track or live audio.
Thank you very much. Now we are going to arrange, let us say, events according to the period, according to the years. And which year did they film, in front of live studio audience? And there were, 3 cameras. Then, editing. In which year? Here. Look at your right. Look at, look at the right. In which year did they film in front of live studio audience? Maybe in 1940s. Shows were filmed in front of a live studio audience with 3 cameras recording and, editing. So here we have to put in 1940s. Now, when was sitcom born? As the weekly radio show, and it was familiar. It was familiar with characters. In which year? And Sharif, are you here, Sharif?
Yes, teacher.
Yes. In which year was sitcom born? In 1950s.
50s.
Yes, in 1950s. The television sitcom was born in 1950s. And It was familiar with, you know, characters. Now, what happened in 1960s? 1960s. What happened in 1960s?
Can I answer?
Yes, Sunday.
He became using a laugh track instead of live audience.
Is fantasy and, you know, comedy, and they use what laugh track. Laugh track here, just, you know, putting, you know, sounds like, you know, laughing instead of being, you know, with people. So in 1960s, sitcoms combined fantasy with comedy and used a laugh track instead of a live studio audience. What happened in 1970s? What happened in 1970s? Yanal?
Yes, teacher.
Read about, you know,
Social issues were included.
included. Good. In 1970s, social issues were included. Now, what happened in 1980s? You know, there was a return to the original family concept. But, you know, the most important success factor behind sitcoms. Now, what about now? What about nowadays? How are, you know, they nowadays shows are filmed with what? With a single camera on location or on studio sets with no laugh track or live audience. So this is about, you know, the, let us say, the development of the sitcoms starting from 1940s up to now. Okay, now let's move to the examples here. Here we have the first scene. Again, you have to imagine, you know, the situation. You have to imagine the setting, the, let us say, the place, the time, the characters. Act 1, scene 1. Here we have, you know, the place is the living room, location, and time is, you know, the morning. This is the first day, and the characters are Omar and Kevin. Who can read? Who can read, you know, the situation? And they try to imagine. Ashraf, are you here?
Yes, Mr.
Okay, read the situation here. Look at your screen. Or you can look at your book on page 42. Try to explain or, you know, describe the situation. Describe, you know, Kevin runs into the living room wearing what is it, etc.
Kevin runs into the living room wearing his tracksuit and notices a letter on the table near the door. As he tries to open it, Omar walks in with a funny look on his face, pointing to the letter.
To the letter. Good. So you realize that what? Kevin is excited. Look, I got it. I'm a university student. So, you know, the situation that what? Kevin runs into the living room wearing his tracksuit and noticed, you know what? A letter on the table near the door. As he tries to open it, Omar walks in with a funny look on his face, pointing to the letter. Kevin what? Was excited. Look, I got it. I'm a university student. Omar at a loss is attempting to stop him. Omar is trying to what? To stop him. But, who can read the situation, the second situation? Who can read the second situation? Muhammad Taysir, are you here? عبد الرحمن موسى. Yusuf. Huday.
Yes,
Kevin.
teacher.
Read here the second.
Kevin rushes out the door holding the
Envelope.
envelope as bites of
Bits
confetti
of, confetti start falling.
falling out, marking his trail. Homer stands
Good.
at the door, shaking his head. He is holding another letter in his hand. Homer,
Yes, Omar.
Kevin
Kevin, you never stop.
That
letter,
letter
it was
an advertisement.
good. It was an advertisement. So you realize that there is a misunderstanding. Now we are going to look at, look here, read and find out the main characters. What are the main characters? The ones who let us say, act in the episode. Here the main characters are Omar and Kevin. What about the plot? The plot is what? The main ideas, the story itself. Look here. Who can read the plot? Who can read the plot? Sharif. Kevin takes a letter.
Yes.
Read it, please.
Kevin takes the letter, reads it, and gets excited after dashing out.
Good. Kevin takes a letter, reads it, and gets excited before dashing out. Omar is trying to explain that, something, but Kevin rushes out of the door and doesn't notice what Omar. So this is about, the first episode, the first scene. Now here we are going to move to the second scene for the, sitcom. Scene 2.
Teacher?
Yes.
Letter mean a message?
Yes, letter. Like yes, letter means here what? Like a message, yes. But it's a written message, okay? The second scene here, Kevin receives the following messages on his voicemail. Read the messages and say who has left the message and why. Discuss how Kevin will feel when he reads them. Who can read the first one? Who can read the first voicemail? Abdurrahman Mahroug, can you read the first message?
Yes, teacher. Hi,
yes.
Kevin. This is Dad. Your brother has told us the wonderful news. Congratulations, son. We are very proud of you.
Very proud of you. Good. Hi, Kevin. This is Dad. Your brother has told us the wonderful news. Congratulations, son. We are very proud of you. What about the second? Who can read the second? Atif, are you here? Muhammad Taysir.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, please read the second. Read the second message.
Hi, Kevin. This is your bro, Ali. We all done. Do you want? Well done. Do you want me to help you with moving your things? Call me.
Good. Hi, Kevin. This is your bro, Ali. Well done. Do you want my help with moving your things? Call me. The third one who can read. Ahmad Haswani, are you here? Ahmed Safi, read please the third.
Okay. Hello, Kevin. This is Miss Jackson from University Admissions. Unfortunately, we don't have any record of an offer of a university place for you. Please, could you call us on 234-7684, etc. 43. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Good. Hello, Kevin. This is Mr. Jackson from University Admissions. Unfortunately, we don't have any record of an offer of a university place for you. Please, could you call us? Thank you. Okay, now we are going to answer the questions, read the messages, and say who has left, the message. What about and why? And how Kevin will feel when he reads them. What about the first one? Who left the first, message? Who left a voicemail? The first one? His father. How will Kevin feel? Speculate. Yes. The first one, his father left, the first voicemail. How will, Kevin feel? Maybe happy, cheered, proud. What about number two? Who left, the voicemail? Try to Ali. Yes, Ali. Speculate, Kevin's, try to guess how will Kevin feel? Happy, grateful. The third one, who left, the voicemail? Mr. Jackson, University Admissions. I think, Kevin will be what? Disappointed. Okay. Now let's move to the third scene. Omar has left a message for Kevin at home. Read the message and say why Omar has left the message. How does Omar feel? Write the voicemail message Kevin leaves for Mr. Jackson explaining the situation. Who can read the message? Who can read Omar's message? Abdullah Amin. Abdullah Amin. Read Omar's message. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. You ran out of the door so quickly that I didn't have a chance to explain. That letter was not from the university offering you a place. It was an advertisement. I'm really sorry. I know how much you want to go to that college. Anyway, Mr. Jackson called and said they don't know who you are, so you had better call and explain the situation. I'll be back at 6 p.m. See you later, Omar.
Good, thank you. So you realize here that there is, a misunderstanding. Hi, Kevin, you ran out of the door so quickly that I didn't have a chance to explain. That letter was not from the university offering you a place. It wasn't, just an advertisement. I'm really sorry. I know how much you want to go to that college. Anyway, Mr. Jackson called and said they don't know who you are, so you had better call and explain the situation. I'll be back at 6 p.m. Omar. Write the voicemail message Kevin leaves for Mr. Jackson explaining the situation. Here we have to what? How will the episode end? Work with a partner and make notes. Write a short description of the final scene. Notes about the final scene. Look here. Now, if you want to write a sitcom, what should you do? Here the steps for writing, a sitcom. Who can read the first point? Abdurrahman Sa'di. First, you have to brainstorm ideas about, funny scenes. Who can read? Sharif?
Okay.
Yes, Sharif.
Brainstorm ideas about funny scenes that you have experienced, heard about, or seen.
Good. So here you have to think carefully about the ideas about, the funny scenes which you have experienced, heard about, or seen. Also, you have to identify what makes them funny. Research and read, scripts from sitcoms, to get ideas. So I think it is not easy to write, a sitcom. You have to what? To be careful with the ideas and, try to attract people to your sitcom. Picture each scene and write a draft description. Focus on the characters and list their characteristics. If possible, draw them. Outline the events in the episode. Go back and edit, replace, or add to your material. Give it to someone else to read before you finalize it. I think, writing, the sitcoms are not, easy work. Here we have an example. Episode 8, as we have here, Act 1, the final scene. Let us say the place, the kitchen or the location. The time of day, here we have the afternoon. Kevin. We are going to talk about Kevin. Try to imagine and to think carefully. Kevin enters home, walks to the kitchen, plays the voicemails, and sits to listen. Dad's voice, mail. طبعا, you realize Kevin will be what? Happy. Alice's voicemail, he will be grateful. Jackson's voicemail from the admission or university admission. Shocked and puzzled. What? Omar's voicemail, as we read it before here. He will be nervous, hitting the table. This just, imagination. Checking the letter again. Impossible, I got it. I'm a university student. Kevin picks up the telephone, dials the telephone number, and leaves a voicemail to Mr. Jackson. Here we have an example. Hello, Mr. Jackson, this is Kevin. Look here. Who can read? Who can read the explanation? Ahmed Azam. Read the last episode. Here. Hello, Mr. Jackson. This is Kevin.
Hello, Mr. Jackson.
This is, the voicemail which
I have already
Kevin. Yes.
Okay. I have already got the offer and I'm holding it right now. Will you please spell my name correctly and check the record again? K-E-F, not F. Kevin, call me back. By the way, we are celebrating tonight. You can join us. You're welcome.
Good. So this is about, write a short description of the final scene, notes about the final scene. Okay. Now, I think we have to stop here with the student's book. You can go to your workbook. Please go to your workbook. Just to share the screen, please. Just seconds, okay? Go to your workbook on page 21. Page 21. 1 minute. Yes. Complete these sentences with the words from the box. Look at the example. Who can read the example? Who can read the example? Abdurrahman. Sharif, read it, Sharif. Suzanne is fascinated.
Susan is fascinated by bugs. When she sees one, she puts it in a jar and keeps it. Also, she has many books about different kinds of insects. And last summer, she even went to bug camp.
Number 1. Who can do it? I think it's very, very easy. Can read number 1. Yes, يلا أحمد عزام.
Okay.
Kiko.
Kyoko is bilingual. Kiko is bilingual. She was born in Japan but moved to the US when she was young. Now she can speak Japanese and English perfectly.
Kiko is bilingual. She was born in Japan but moved to the US when she was young. Number 2. Number 2. Sharif.
Yes, I often feel when I'm around my younger brother, he never stops talking or bothering me. Also, he tries to make me play little kid games. I wish he would just leave me alone. I often feel irritated.
Good. I often feel irritated when I am around my younger brother. He never stops talking or bothering me. Also, he tries to make me play with little kid games. Number 3. Uday. Uday. Asma's teacher.
Osama's teacher said her paper was remarkable. She gave her an A and also asked to keep a copy of it because it was so good.
Good. Number 4. Abdullah Amin.
أستاذ أي صفحة؟
Page 21 في الworkbook. Look at the screen. Read it. I am astonished.
I'm astonished by the number of people who don't like school. It's amazing. We need school if we want to get anywhere in the world. I think they are all free.
Good. Number 5. Number 5. Muhammad Taysir. Read.
Yes,
I've
teacher.
lost one. Yes, read number 5.
I have lost one of my shoes and I'm totally puzzled by it.
Good. I thought it took them both.
I took them both off at the door last night.
But this morning, only one of them was there. I've looked everywhere, but I cannot find it. I'm so confused. Okay, thank you very much. Let's, stop here.